Talladega isn't a racetrack, it's a test of nerds, a place where the draft can make you a hero, the big one can erase you in an instant, and survival is often worth more than raw speed. The allure of this place is dangerous, magnetic, almost mythic. A win at any other track is getting to the finish line first, but here, surviving is your main goal. And into this cauldron rolls in the hottest driver of 2026, that being Tyler Reddick. Unstoppable, unshaken, and a former winner here who knows exactly how to thread the needle when the pack is four wide and the walls feel like they're closing in. The question hanging over the garage is simple: can anyone slow him down, or is Talladega about to become the next chapter in his rampage? But the track also has a mind of its own. It loves chaos, it loves heartbreak, and it loves giving more than anything, crowning first-time winners out of the smoke and the wreckage. Reddick is rolling in with momentum, and Talladega is waiting with teeth bared. Only one of them will leave satisfied. MDK RaceDay welcomes you to race 10 of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. It's the Jack Link's 500 from the Talladega Superspeedway here in Talladega, Alabama. In beautiful condition here in Talladega, temperature going to be in the low 80s. Basically no chance of rain, about 2%. Slight wind north-northeast of the racetrack at 5 miles an hour. Wind gusts as high as 10 miles an hour, but it is a perfect day to go racing. Green flag is scheduled for 3:20 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Fox. Welcome everyone back to episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jet. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We're getting ready for one of the most anticipated races of the season, Talladega Superspeedway, but because of things that are happening with the cars and the stage racing, we could see one of two things. We could see a very different Talladega or more or less of the same. But one thing we don't know is that we don't know who is going to win this race until we cross the checker flag, because with qualifying rained out, the first time the drivers are going to hit the track is when they take the green flag. So this is going to be very unpredictable. Now, like I said, Tyler Reddick is in a season for the ages. We have not seen a driver be this dominant to start the season since 1987. So it's no surprise that Reddick is entering Talladega as a points leader with, again, a nearly 2-race gap. Currently, Reddick has 457 points, 105 points ahead of his owner, boss Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney in third, Ty Gibson fourth, Larson and Elliott in fifth and sixth, Byron in seventh, Bubba Wallace eighth, Brad Keselowski up 2 spots in ninth ahead of Christopher Bell in 10th, Chris Buescher in 11th, and Hocevar makes his way into the top 12 in the 12th position. 13th is Ryan Preece, Logano is 14th, Chase Briscoe now in the chase for the first time this season in 15th spot, and Daniel Suarez currently holds the final spot in the chase, 13 points ahead of Austin Cindric, who is the defending race winner from last year. 18th is Shane Van Gisbergen, Michael McDowell in 19th, Ross Chastain in 20th, AJ Allmendinger, Zane Smith, and Todd Gillen up 3 positions, the biggest mover of the drivers in the top 24 in the point standings, 310 points behind Tyler Reddick, and 63 points behind the cut line from Daniel Suarez. Now, like I said, qualifying was rained out, so NASCAR had to use their metric system in order to determine who starts where for this race. So, not surprisingly, Tyler Reddick. I can't remember a time a driver has been on pole, whether through speed or through rain out, this many times in a single season. Again, I swear, this guy cannot stop winning. But regardless, take a look at the starting lineup for the 2025 Jack Link's 500 from Talladega. So Tyler Reddick starting alongside, Tyler Reddick, I should say, who won here about a couple years ago in the spring Talladega race, starting alongside Kyle Larson, who has the best finish here of second again a couple years ago in the spring. Row 2 has former Talladega winners Denny Hamlin in the 11 ride and Bubba Wallace, who won here in the fall of 2021. Row 3 has Chase Briscoe, who won here last fall, starting alongside Brad Keselowski, who has won at Talladega multiple times. Row 4 has William Brown in the 24 and Chase Elliott, a 2-time Talladega winner. And round of the top 10 is Ty Gibbs in the 54 ride and Chris Buescher in the 17. Row 6 has Ryan Preece in the 60 alongside the Hurricane Carson Hocevar in the 77. Row 7 is the defending race winner here from last spring, Austin Cindric in the 2, alongside Christopher Bell in the 20. Row 8 has Ryan Blaney, who's won at Talladega multiple times here in his career, starting alongside Daniel Suarez in the 7 ride. Riley Herbst starting alongside Austin Dillon in the 3 car, with Todd Gillen and Alex Bowman rounding out the top 20. Row 11 is Eric Jones of the 43, starting alongside Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who won here in the fall of 2024. Row 12 has John Hunter Nemechek in the 42, and Chastain, the spring 2022 Talladega winner. Row 13 is Joey Logano, multiple-time Talladega winner, alongside Josh Berry in the 21 car. Cole Custer and AJ Allmendinger make up row 14, and round the top 30 is teammates from Front Row Motorsports, Noah Gragson in the 4, Zane Smith in the 38. Row 16 is Michael McDowell and rookie Connor Zilisch in the 88 car. Row 17 is Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Busch, two-time Talladega winner, spring of 08 and spring of 2023. Row 18 is Ty Dillon and Cody Ware. Row 19 is JC Love, making a return to the Cup Series in the number 33 RCR Chevrolet alongside Chai Fincham and Joey Gase, and making his first career Cup Series start is Daniel Dye for Live Fast Motorsports. And unfortunately, Casey Mears, due to qualifying being rained out, did not have the opportunity to qualify for this race, so he is the only driver that was sent home. Let's take a look at the awesome win here at Talladega presented by DraftKings. There's almost no point in showing these, but we're still going to. Tyler Reddick, the best odds at plus 850 alongside Ryan Blaney. Larson and Keselowski at 1,000 each. Wallace at 1,100. Logano and Hocevar at 1,200. Byron at 1,500. And then you see Hamlin and Elliott at 1,600. Kind of surprised that the defending race winner Austin Cindric is sitting at 1,800 odds. Buescher and Briscoe at 22. Bell and Busch at 2,500 alongside Ty Gibbs, 2,800 for Ryan Preece, 3,000 for McDowell and Stenhouse, and Alex Bowman at plus 3,500. But it is Talladega, so these odds really don't matter. What matters is this: if you're in it, you can win it. Now it's time for you guys to make the call. I asked y'all a simple question. What do you think is going to happen in today's race? Like I said, there is a lot of unknown. NASCAR has adjusted the stage lengths to maybe try and reduce the amount of fuel saving. The first time the driver's going to hit the track will be when they take the green flag. So they're not going to be used to their surroundings early on, so we could see a very conservative stage one. But let's get into it. Motorsports Fan 17 says, here's a wild concept. The finish is the first ever two-way tie for a win. And just to throw two names out there, it's with Chris Buescher and Daniel Suarez. Okay, so that has never happened in NASCAR. The closest finish in NASCAR history was, I believe, two 10,000ths of a second, and what was then called the Xfinity Series with, I believe, Tyler Reddick and Elliott Sadler, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. But okay, that's a very wild prediction. It could happen because with the way the aero package is set up for the Cup Series, a lot of gridlocking, so we see a lot of 2x2x2x2, especially we've seen in the closing laps at Talladega in this next gen car, a lot of 2x2 at the finish line. Very good chance we're going to see a photo finish. Very good chance we could see a surprise winner. A two-way tie, I don't know if it's going to get that crazy. All Thrills 9973 says, I predict the adjusted stage lanes throw a wrench in a lot of team strategies, and we won't see as many teammates be able to link up and draft with each other as easily as in the past few years. Yeah, that is the real interesting part about with how we're going to approach this race, is with the adjusted stage lengths, will they have even effect at all? And if so, how will they? Will we see drivers race harder? Will they be able to not pair up with their teammates as quickly as they did in years past? Because, you know, you have a longer stage lengths, you're able to do more with your car, able to position yourself a lot more, work with more drivers to set yourself up for the ending of the race. Now that is kind of reversed, where stage 1 and stage 2 are the shortest and stage 3 is the longest. How does that change drivers' mentality in terms of how they team up with drivers and or teammates? And finally, Cito1101 says, an underdog winner, Ryan Preece, gets redemption, I should say, after last year's DQ. And we're going to start off with that as to the storylines in this race. And that is obviously when you think of Talladega, if you're in it, you can win it. And if we take a look at the last 8 races at Talladega, I would say from a team's perspective, it's been pretty split. 4 have been won by Chevrolet, all 4 different teams. Trackhouse, JTG Doherty, or now called Hayek Motorsports, Hendrick Motorsports, and RCR. You look at Toyota, 2 of them, 1 from Joe Gibbs Racing, 1 from 2011 Racing, and 2 from Ford. Both came from the Penske stable of Blaney and Cindric. So for the most part, it's been pretty spread out. But one thing I will think that will still be a factor is 2011 Racing. If you look at specifically how well they ran on the drafting tracks this year in the Daytona 500, yes, Tyler Reddick did win the race, but it was Bubba Wallace that led the most laps. And I believe the driver that led the second most laps was another Toyota driver in Chase Briscoe. Then you look at Atlanta, Reddick and Wallace were the class of the field that day. So there is a theme going on in 2026, and not only is 2011 Racing, specifically the 45, is good everywhere, but at the drafting tracks, the 2011 Racing cars, as well as Toyota as a whole, are going to be ones you need to watch out for, specifically the 23 and the 45. And the fact that they're starting first and third, I think could be something that we would see in the Daytona 500 earlier this year, when we saw, I believe in stage 3, the 3 Toyota drivers of Bubba Wallace, Corey Heim, I believe, and I want to say either Chase Briscoe or Denny Hamlin, kind of set the scene. 3 wide or so, just holding everybody back at half throttle and led almost the entirety of the stage. that is something I would not surprise if you see in stage 1, because as much as NASCAR is going to try and adjust the stage lanes to reduce the amount of fuel saving, half throttle racing, what we've been seeing so far since this next gen car debuted, nothing's going to change. I feel like, I think unless you do something with the aerodynamics of the car, reducing the spoiler, reducing the amount of drag, maybe reducing the size of the, well, not the restrictor plate, the tapered spacer, giving cars more power. Reducing the drag allows for drivers to be able to drive up to cars faster, create slingshots, and be able to move from the back to the front and so forth. We saw in yesterday's O'Reilly race where our drivers didn't fuel save. The reason why, for the most part, is because they can move anywhere. They can, if let's say they get to the back of the field, they can drive their way up towards the front. You can't do that with this next-gen car. So despite their best efforts, I still think the team's mentality is going to be try and stay on pit road for as little as they possibly can in order to get track position, stay out in front, and set the tempo. I think that is still going to remain the same. I don't think reducing or adjusting the stage lanes is going to do that. So track position is still going to be very key. I still think you're going to see these half throttle racing. We're still going to see probably 3 wide, 4 wide, however many rows deep, but they're going about 50% throttle. I think that will still happen. I don't think anything is going to change. And one thing though I am also very interested in is to see as to maybe how will this affect the aggression level, because not only a thing that I'm also going to be very interested in is that how is this going to affect the aggression level of the drivers? Because we're no longer in the win and you're in. That is done out the window. Now it's more points racing, more consistency racing. Will we see drivers try to take as many chances or gamble as much as they did in years past? Will we see drivers from the smaller teams, like for example, Front Row Motorsports, Todd Gillen and Zane Smith, pretty good on the super speedways. Maybe a Noah Gragson that's down in the 30s in the point standings. Well, let's say he's in a situation, try to be aggressive to get that win, knowing that it may help you in points, but it's not going to get you a spot in racing for a championship. Will that affect their mentality? Stenhouse Jr., one of the more aggressive drivers in the field. He's the driver where if he doesn't win the race, he's going to bring home the steering wheel because he's going to cause a major crash. Will that mentality follow for some of these drivers? Because you look at some of the drivers that haven't gotten their first win yet. You look at Carson Hocevar, who is oh so close, been so many times close at having a shot at winning this race. He is for sure, if he doesn't win, he will make damn sure he does something to put himself in position to win. Some other drivers are below the cut line. You look at maybe Ross Chastain, who's having not a great season at all and doesn't look like they have the speed for him to point his way into the top 16 in the standings. Will he try and do something aggressive? Kyle Busch, he's outside the top 20 in points. This is a racetrack, one of the few racetracks or opportunities he will have this season to show any type of speed in that A car. There is going to be a lot of drivers that are hungry just to get something good to kickstart their season or to get something for their season. And Talladega is one of those few races where you can make that happen. So expect to see a lot of aggression from those drivers, I do feel like, although I do think it won't be as intense as it had been in years past, where it was literally win and you're in, and it could save your season. You can go from 30th to 16th in points like that. Let's take a look at my Fantasy Live lineup. We have about 75 people that are joining in. Currently still leading is HMS Fan for Life at 2,164 points. Second is Sir Woodster. Third is Speed Racer. Denny delivers in fourth, and Richard Morris 22 and fifth, minus 93 points below the cut line. I'm still stuck in 20th. Last Sunday at Kansas wasn't my best showing. Today at Talladega, I'm just going balls to the wall. I really do not care because you can pick anybody. There are some drivers that I did pick that have a good track history because I think this is going to be a pretty tame Talladega because, again, with the 2x2 gridlock, very difficult to pass. I don't think it's going to be as aggressive as maybe what we saw in Atlanta or even Daytona. But take a look at my lineup here. I got William Byron, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Austin Cindric, Ryan Preece. I got Ryan Preece. I just feel like, this could be a race where he may have a shot at winning. And Chase Elliott in my garage because he is a former Talladega winner here, won in the next gen car. So those are my lineup. That's my lineup. I elected to go for drivers that I have either used once or twice or not at all. I think I used Reddick maybe 5 times or Hamlin 5 times. And I'm like, I'm not going to throw away a usage for Talladega. I'm going to give this to some of the new guys to not only help me move up in the points, but to also save the top drivers for later on. But the driver that I have winning is not in the lineup because I've used him quite a bit, but I do feel like that the winner of this race will be a first-time super speedway winner. And it's not Carson Hocevar, it's not Daniel Suarez, it's not none of these drivers. I got the 2-time champion Kyle Larson. Starting second in this race, like I said, he has the best finish of second at Talladega. And I will say, In the last few Talladega drafting track races, he has been running much better. Before, it was almost a guarantee. Expect Larson in a wreck. Now you're starting to see that 5 car up in the front more often, winning stage racing, up front, earning points, putting himself in contention, maybe not winning, but still getting solid finishes. Very different from what we are used to seeing with Kyle Larson on the super speedways. And I think this could be the opportunity where we could see that 5 car go to victory lane. So I got Kyle Larson winning this race. But what do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jeff from MDK. Thank you so much for watching. See y'all next time.